Love Them Knives channel here, back with Liong Mah, and
Hey.
we're gonna have a discussion today about the state of the industry, and Liong's
Ah,
gonna lead that discussion because I have no idea what the hell we're talking
I'll
about.
be quiet the whole
Oh,
time.
bullshit!
Oh yeah.
No, you're leading now. You're leading now because I don't even know where you want to go with this.
I have no idea either.
Okay, what about the industry? The state of the current industry.
Well, I think it's probably like the best time because now we have access to like really high-end materials, right? Really, really top choice materials. And it's not just top choice materials here. We can actually import them and export them everywhere. And now you have like the precision and companies wanting to make really high-end materials, really high-end products. And man, that's like no better time to be a knife enthusiast right now. You got you got so many choices that even your affordable choice are great choices, you know? And
Yeah.
it's like, man, I wish I had this when I was in my teens because I was buying flea market knives and they were crap.
And they were as expensive. I mean, right now, even a
Yeah,
Ganzo knife in D2. I mean, it's real D2.
yeah,
Their bearings, they're nice. I mean, we're
yeah,
talking sometimes anywhere from 20 to $25.
yeah,
But then we've gone sub budget, even on the new laconic line of Kaiser,
yeah.
like the Swedge over there. I mean, that's they've gone into the low $40 range, and ceramic bearings and either 9CR, even sometimes you're at what D2 and or whatever. But I mean, 14C, another thing like the Canary right here from QSP, just got it. And of course, I'm not going to have it for long because it's pink and it'll go into my wife's collection. But I got the fixed blade Canary, and then this is way cool. So this is a little Canary folder. How cool. Okay, but yes, I get
Yeah.
your
So
what you're
the
saying.
only thing is, I mean, I was having a conversation with a dealer friend of mine, and he's like, man, I don't see, there's like no bottom anymore. So companies are like racing to the bottom. And
To go broke?
well, I hope they stop before they go broke, but they're chasing after that lower price point. And, you know, it's kind of scary. It's scary. Yeah.
Well, I wonder if they're responding to the fact that really the market has softened some
Yeah.
since the COVID years. People were at home.
Yeah.
They weren't going out to dinner or drinks or movies. They weren't traveling. They
Yeah.
weren't doing this and that. And then they were getting government checks,
Yeah.
right? And so I did like the checks part. I didn't like having to stay at home. But so they didn't spend the money, right? So they were online. They were buying lots of knives,
Yeah.
doing this and that. And now those good old days are gone.
Well, you can't even get people to go back to work now.
Yeah.
They want to stay on. They want to just stay on the computer. So
See? Yeah.
yeah. So and it's strange because like you know, you got companies also trying things. Companies who traditionally made products, you know, in China and Taiwan. Now they're having products made in the U.S. And then you have customers complain that it's too expensive.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you know, having products made here, it does cost more money, and that's
Yeah.
just something you have to deal with, you know. So, like, if you want products made in the U.S., which everyone does, it does cost more money, you know,
Yeah.
and that's just a fact. Now, and they have to pay the employees a fair wage. The employees want to be able to make a living, and they have to pay their bills wherever they're located. So it's going to cost
They
more.
got to pay the employers part of the Social Security. They got to pay workers' compensation, insurance, and all that. They got to watch their environmental standards more in this country and this
Yeah.
and that. So, yeah, I get that. But I just don't see that there's a lot of interest in American manufacturers doing OEM work for knives, as I have said before. And I've talked to some guys at the shows, and they're going, yeah, because if you got sophisticated CNCs and stuff, you're going to make high tech parts,
Yeah.
aircraft parts,
Yeah.
oil field parts, or whatever parts for other industries because you make more money per machine hour.
Right.
So why am I making a knife? A knife is easy. And
Yeah.
so you got all these shops over in China because they got what 1.4 billion people, so they got 5 times the population of the United States, and they got 5 times the shops probably or more.
And everybody's a shop.
Yeah, everybody's
So,
a shop.
You know, even in houses, you'll walk by the houses and they got CNC machines in there. And
That's
it's
what
not.
I need. I need one of those.
And everybody's educated in school to run machines. You know, to be able to take on those courses. Not like here where it's something that you do it after school.
When you go to a tech school or something like that.
So it's a different way to educate. So and all the knife companies here are jam packed. They're busy. Like if you went to them, it's not like they're waiting for you to give them a project. They already have years of projects ahead of them.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing is like they don't need to look for other projects. They already got all these projects. So and they're building great products. And so if you want stuff made here, yeah, you may not be able to buy as many, but if you want to support them, support them. You know?
Yeah. Well, I'd love to see the United States bring more manufacturing back here. I think there's, because, I mean, a big component used to be labor. But with the automation anymore, the labor part's not as big a part of the overall cost of a product. And so that's really, we should be able to compete pretty closely. And you know what? Some of these Chinese knives, $400, $500, $600, come on. I mean, we could do that. That would be nice. I mean, it'd just be nice to have those options. You know what I mean?
That would be nice. But the $400, $500, $600 Chinese knives would probably cost 3 times more here.
I don't know. Maybe.
It would.
I mean, I'd like to see somebody give it a go like that. But I mean, I think there are some OEMs here in the USA and this and that. And I've never done. I mean, I did one knife, right? The Result or whatever this thing. So, will I do another knife? Probably not.
You should do another knife
ever. So, but if I did, I think I would look seriously into an American OEM, just to what the hell I want to know. So that kind of thing. But yes, the quality is there on the Chinese knives for those that are the quality manufacturers.
Yeah.
So
and you know what? I mean, the passion is there now. I mean, they don't want to turn out, cheap knives. They want to turn out like the really good high-end quality stuff. And that's why I love working,
Well, I mean, you've got all the American knife makers like Eric Oakes or Brian Nadeau or, so you got Sharp by Design, you got Chavez, you got Pena, who else? I mean, you got
everybody.
I mean, even, everybody.
Yeah.
Ferrum Forge, everybody.
Because everyone, I'm sure all these knife makers, they tried to do a project here.
Yeah.
They did. And some of them are custom makers, and then when they tried to do like an OEM project here and had to wait, they were like, okay, let's try it overseas and see if that works out. So, when that worked out, then good, But everybody does want to have a project here. It's not that we don't want to have, we do, but sometimes it might be years.
Early when you were first doing it, you were telling me you had USA makers making your knives like way back in the beginning.
I started out just designing knives with custom knife makers, and there will be collaborations, but they'll do one project, and it'll be at first it'll be like 6 months wait, a year wait, and then it became 2 years, then 3 years, and then you don't hear anything from them. And then like 5-6 years later, they'll be like, hey, I still want to do that project. And for me, in my designs, I keep evolving. And I was like, that's no longer what I want to do.
You can't hang with that kind of timeline anyhow.
Yeah.
But I mean, they couldn't do.
No, they will only do 10
couldn't
pieces.
do that many.
No, it'll be 10 pieces. And this way, like, almost, like all my custom projects before were only runs of 10. And yeah. Yeah.
That'd be weird. I mean, you know what would be interesting is to have pictures of your early ones that you did.
Right.
You got pictures saying
I do.
all that?
I do. I even have one of each one. And I was going to put it...
You do?
We should
have a video with all his super early stuff where there was only 10 of them made.
So, like, I I wanted to do that on my website, like create like an old catalog and everything, because I got stuff that were like different opening mechanisms that I no longer use, but I did it before everybody else did, and the website guys was like, but you have none of those for sale, so why would you even want to showcase that?
Yeah.
There are going to be people who keep asking you to buy one of those, and you don't actually have one for sale, so there's no point. Plus, you're taking up bandwidth by putting it on your site. So I was like, okay, but I do have all those photos stored on my drive.
That'd
So,
be interesting. Well, I'd like
yeah.
to get those just to put them on some kind of a video that I
Yeah.
could do, and I could just pull them up. I mean, on my iPad and just do a video like slideshow for everybody, voiceover, and kind of just talk about the knives, or both you and I together with
Yeah.
the mics.
Yeah.
We could do that as well.
Yeah, I mean, my first few knives were all karambits.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, yeah. I have a Rick Hinder karambit that Rick made for me, a run of like 20 or 22 of them. That was the only one that was like more than 10. And they've gone to like some of the very special people that would use that. I got project with Strider and some of the more famous makers like Todd Rexford and Jeremy Marsh and Sal Monero. So
Wow.
yeah, a lot of guys.
Wow.
John W. Smith. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that when you were.
A
So
lot
you
of
were
guys.
talking about when you were working in New York City,
As a chef.
and then you were chasing
Oh, yeah.
knife. You were going to knife shows to
Yeah.
try and get people to see if they wouldn't produce your designs
Yeah.
like CRKT and
Yep.
stuff, right?
Yeah. So that was the thing. Like I would work like anywhere from 12 to 15 hours a day, and then I'll tell my boss like, hey, I need off this weekend just to go to a knife show, and it'll be like, just work some extra hours, and then I'll come back in Sunday night after the show and go back to work on Monday, and that was the way it was for several years until, I was just like, and I thought that was going to be the way it was because I was chasing project after project after project. People would be like, don't you work as a chef? I'm like, yeah. And I'm going back to work after the show is over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It
you
was
put
great.
in a lot of years chasing that too, because
Yeah.
you knew you couldn't do a larger run than only so many
Well, I
knives
mean, the
with
thing
a
is-
USA maker.
The maker could do more, but you want to keep it at like 10 just to make sure like the value was always there. And like, this way like people knew like what they're buying, and I still have the collectors who, they still have the knives. And a lot of them went overseas, a lot of them went to Russia and China.
Wow.
So yeah. Yeah.
So, when did you actually start doing like more volume? Was it when you hooked up with Riyadh, or was it?
Oh,
prior
yeah,
to
definitely. Because there was a minimum order.
it? Oh,
Yeah, that was a minimum order.
understand
So my
that.
first project was the Warrior 1, and that was 300 pieces. And I was like, oh my God.
How are you going to afford that?
How am I going
Because
to...
people are doing pre-sales now, but
Yeah.
not back then, right?
Back then, it was like, I was one of the first ones, right? And so none of the stuff that's happening now was even like known, right? And like, I didn't know how to sell. So, and I just started being on Instagram and Facebook, and it was just like, how am I going to reach so many people? How am I going to do that? And it's just like, it was such new territory that, it was sort of like that scary and excitement at the same time.
Terrifying.
And you're like, okay, I gotta pay all this money for all these knives, and then just trusting someone that you never met overseas.
Oh yeah, I mean that. Yeah, you were
Yeah.
talking about
And-
good Lord, I'm giving tens of thousands
Yeah.
of dollars to some guy halfway around the
Right.
world, and I don't even really know him.
And then I found David on Facebook somehow. I found him and I was messaging him. I was like, are you the same David who owns Riyadh Knives? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I bought one of your knives, the Horizon A, and it's really good. I want to do a project. And then I told him I was a designer. And I was like, he probably never heard of him. He's like, I've heard of you before. I'm like, oh, holy shit, okay.
Wow.
And then I had to get the design, send it to him, and I was like, God, I gotta send my IP overseas to somebody in an email. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so scary. And then and then he's like, oh, the design looks good. We can make it. How about we make 2 prototypes first? And they just charged me several $100s, right, for the prototypes. And I was like, now he has my design and I'm sending him hundreds of dollars. Oh my God. And then, but then, after about a month, the 2 prototypes came, and I flicked them. And I was like, wow, if he can make like 90% of them like this, I am going to keep working on him.
Yeah.
And he did.
So how many years ago was that?
This was late 2014. Yeah.
2014?
Yeah. So right after I moved down to Florida and got my home.
That long ago? 9 years ago.
9 years ago.
Oh, it's only 9 years ago. Well, hold on. So you had the 18 that you did to celebrate 18 years.
Yeah.
So, but you were okay. So
I'm counting all the years I did as a custom design too.
Okay.
Yeah.
9 years in front of that. So you've been doing it for what? 20 years now at least.
20 years at least.
Yeah.
And it's really like I would go to work and come back and draw in my notebook and then try to put it into CAD. And that was really like a way to like kind of like relax, like my drawings. And I have so many drawings that most of it would never become an actual product. But yeah, I love drawing.
Yeah, weren't your parents a little freaked out? You were how old when you were drawing?
Oh, I was drawing.
Knives?
I was drawing knives in my like school textbooks, my school notebooks, and they're like. But back then, they didn't send you to no psychologist. They didn't think that there was something wrong with you because you could draw knives. But yeah.
But so you arrived in New York City from Malaysia when you were 9 years old, right?
Yeah. In '83.
So that must have been a culture shock.
It wasn't so bad. So we stayed with my uncle and aunt for like 6 months before we got our own home. But instead of putting me in public school, I went to Catholic school, right? And it was really cool. Like, even though I wasn't Catholic, they welcomed me in. My teachers were awesome. And whenever I go back to my own neighborhood, I still bump into a couple of them, And it's like, yeah, they're great. They're great.
Yeah, my wife went to Catholic school too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a different kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, she got a good education there as well.
Yeah.
And then my brother-in-law, which is her older brother, he went to the same Catholic school, but then he went to this other Catholic school called Notre Dame. Notre Dame. How did he get in there? I think somebody pulled some strings somewhere in the family.
What was a real culture shock was when I graduated 8th grade and went into like public high school. That was a culture shock. That was like
because you couldn't go the whole way in the Catholic.
I could have.
Oh, you.
But then I was like, Mom.
So you went to public.
I want to go to public high school just to see what it's like, and I was like, holy shit, this is different.
Oh, I bet it was. Because that would have been, after I was already. I mean, you're way younger than me, so that would have been where everybody's very relaxed in the way that they dress and do things
and like like New York City actually did like a survey of like the most violent high school, like after I graduated that high school, and mine came in like 9th or 10th or something, like the most violent with all the incidents. But the thing is, I never had any incidents. Yeah, everybody was cool with me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Yeah.
So could you speak English before you came?
Oh
here,
yeah. Yeah. So Malaysia is a British colony.
Oh.
So everybody speaks English.
Okay.
At least like some form of English. They may not have a lot of practice. And that's the same thing. Like when you go into Southeast Asia, English is taught in schools, but most of them are embarrassed to actually speak to you because they feel like if they get it wrong, you might laugh at them or something. And I tell them, like, no, they just, when someone who's English speaking is coming to you for help, they actually need the help. So if you're trying, they really appreciate it, And I've been in airports where, as soon as they hear that my English is pretty decent, they're like, no, we're not speaking to this one because his English is actually decent. I'm like, don't worry, I need the help. Trust me, I need the help. I'm okay with you, having some broken English.
So how did you learn to speak Cantonese?
My parents are Cantonese. So,
Oh,
yeah. My dad, who could speak like probably 4 or 5 different Chinese dialects, didn't learn English as much, besides learning how to curse someone out in English, right? Yeah, that's about it. And so I was able to maintain my Cantonese just speaking with him, because my mom went to an English school in Malaysia. She went to an English Catholic school in Malaysia. Yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah,
But she spoke Cantonese as well.
yeah. She speaks perfect English and perfect Cantonese.
Now, so when you talk to David at Riyadh, you can speak to him in
In
Cantonese.
but they speak Mandarin in China. But
But
the town that the factory is in is actually Yanjian, which is a suburb of Guangzhou, which used to be called Canton, where Cantonese came from. So Cantonese is still spoken, but it's usually spoken in the house. Whereas if you were doing business, you would speak Mandarin.
wow,
Yeah, yeah. It would be like in Italy, where like the locals will speak their languages at home, but there's an official Italian dialect. You know.
so
Yeah.
Guangzhou isn't that the where they're making all these knives?
Oh my
Almost
God.
all of them.
Well, Yanjian is the town.
Yanjian.
Yanjian.
Okay.
Okay. So when you go to Yanjian, it's a huge town, and everything metal comes out of there. So scissors, nail clippers, kitchen tools, kitchen knives, all the pocket
Well,
knives.
it's like Kaiser, Best
Yeah,
Tech, all
yeah.
those.
Yeah,
right
they're
there.
all very close to one another.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, that's what I was
it'll
wondering.
be like when you go into like Oregon, you'll see like CRKT and Kershaw and Gerber, and they're close enough to one another. You know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who were you with? Oh, you met David's son, who was the Kaiser rep at the time.
He was-
when you were over there, right?
He was actually there at the same time I was the first time I was there, and he recognized me, and I said hello. Yeah. Yeah.
And then he introduced you to, because he used
the
to be
CH,
with
the
to the
CH.
owner of CH,
Yeah.
which is what, Chen Ping, or is
I
that
don't
his name?
even remember his name
Yeah.
now. I'm so embarrassed.
Owner of
Yeah.
CH knives. So
Yeah.
I'm going, and he used to work for Kaiser.
Yeah.
Dave used to work for Kaiser. The guy at Shield and Steven, he used to work for Kaiser.
Yeah. I think you're gonna see more and more of this. It's like, it's like everybody who they learn the trade, right? And then they're like, I want to do my own thing a little bit, and they go out and they see if they can make it, which is a great thing, because I'm sure even the guys at Riyadh, they work for somebody else first, and then they try to see like what they can learn, and then eventually they pull their money together, and then they start their own thing, and so it's really entrepreneurial.
Yeah,
You know?
oh God.
Yeah, I mean, it's like,
Oh,
if they have the knowledge, and then the energy, and then the drive to go do it, yeah, they go do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, because like Kaiser broke out, who was it? Kim Ning left Kaiser
You-
and
you know
started
that-
Cancept.
You know that way better than I do.
Yeah, and Joyce was at Kaiser, and she went to Cancept when he went.
Yeah.
So Kim Ning is the guy there, and then is David's son? Does he actually own Beyond EDC?
I
or
think
is-
so. I think that's his. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and they're gonna hook up and do some Daryl Ralph production.
Well, Del
Yeah,
Ruff is gone.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
and so he got with the family,
Yeah.
and on some of the famous Daryl Ralph designs like Dominator and this and that.
Yeah.
And so apparently that's coming down the pike. Last I heard from David.
That's pretty
And
cool.
so he showed me one that was like a prototype thing, and I go, "Whew, that's definitely Daryl Ralph design." So they're going to do that, and of course they pay the family so
Yeah.
much to do those designs and stuff. So that's interesting. Bring back the old, oh God, the Cuda Max. And then the one that was like the 7-inch blade, that Cuda Double X or whatever Max. I had
That's-
one at one time. I should still have that. Oh, that was one you don't
So,
sell.
FYI, guys, Lee has a lot of knives,
Again.
a lot, and a lot of flashlights. If you guys need anything, You should just message him like,
Now,
hey,
just go to my website. Don't get into my personal stash.
do you
Just
have
go
a
to my website.
spare one laying around that you're not doing anything with? Oh, I only got these 500 that are just laying around for no reason. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but most of mine are budget knives. You can take a whole drawer out, and it's like, okay, so everything in here is probably worth $500 together. Most guys got a knife that's $500, just the one knife. Not me. Mine's
Yeah.
a whole drawer full of joy.
Yeah.
But guys keep asking me, okay, if you could just have, would you rather have just one expensive knife or a dozen, budget crazy,
Yeah.
knives? And you know what?
I think a mix
I like the little budget. If that's all you're gonna do, I mean, you don't have a huge budget. I like having multiple different knives because you know what? Like you were saying,
a little bit of both.
these are well, that's why you got the Eutectic line going on because that's also feeding that budget craze. But you know what? These knives, 20 years ago, not in this price range, were not that good. But now they are. They are that good, and they're worthy to carry and use. So hey,
Hey, if you're gonna actually use it, get it dirty, scrape it, chip it, whatever, carry a budget knife, and then carry the nice one to show all your friends.
Yeah, because I ain't taking my field duty with the winter storm, fat carbon, and all that out there to bang away. But I've got my bangers. I mean, they're all around the house. Everywhere. We're just looking around the room going, oh, God. Okay.
So that's the state of industry. So,
We didn't even talk about the industry. We just talked about your bio.
oh my
What
God.
about the state of the
Oh
industry?
my God.
So what do you think? I mean,
I
development of steels?
I think there's going to be a lot more steel marketing, right? Like the latest craze is this, and then there's going to be a next craze, and then a next craze, and people have to see if those new steels are actually what they want.
I think there will be a push coming where people are going to go, okay, it's nice to have Magna Cut, but it's only nice to have Magna Cut or M390 or whatever if it's in the proper heat treat protocol to where I actually get performance for my money because it's a name and it's supposed to be good or it has a potential to be really good, but is it? And I think that's going to be the next push. I mean, they came from 8CR,
Right.
then there was D2, then all the
But
14C.
what is the nice heat treat? Like for me, coming from a kitchen background, right? Kitchen knives were never ridiculously hard because we would put it through the steel
Oh, yeah.
on a daily basis, and then once a week we'll actually sharpen it on the stone, right? So anything in the mid 50s was great, right? And we don't even talk to us about like steel types because none of us would know what each kitchen knife would be until now. Until now, we actually put the name of the steel on it, right? But 20 years ago, none of us knew.
No,
Okay?
no, you didn't.
And so now I think anything in the mid to high 50s is great. And as a manufacturer, we want to stay in the happy medium, what we call it. Because when we sell a product, we have no idea if the person who bought it knows how to resharpen a knife or actually knows how to take care of a knife. So if we make it too hard, let's say they chip the blade, then I get I get yelled at for giving them a knife for the blade chip, even though they did the chipping. You know?
Isn't there stories of like early Chris Reeve knives or some other brands
I don't know anything about that.
They were hard to sharpen, and so I mean you have to address that as a manufacturer. It's like some people, so everybody bitches about everything, right?
Yeah.
So it's too hard to sharpen. It's like, why did you buy M390 then? Because it should be at a 62,
Right.
and it would be optimum. But then again, don't bitch that it takes forever to sharpen it. Send it to somebody then, because you're pushing the manufacturer towards not getting it to 62 because they don't want to hear the grief.
Right. Because that's the other side of it. When we do something like that, then we get the grief from complaints that people who couldn't take care of it, or they break the blade.
Yeah.
And for
Or
something
whatever.
that's high end like my Liong Mah knives, there aren't any extra blades because each one of them is like a handmade knife,
Yeah.
right? So we stay in the what we call the happy medium. You make the knives hard, but not overly hard. Now, if a customer really wants, let's say they get a particular steel that can go up to like 64, which I don't know why anyone would want a blade steel that's 64 Rockwell.
Depends.
Okay.
Just like my underwear. Depends. I mean, 15V, that should be
They,
65,
they, they,
64.
they should contact a custom maker
Yeah. Well,
and
that's always the answer. That's
and
always the answer.
have the custom maker build them a knife
Yeah.
in that specific
Yep.
Rockwell.
Doing their own personal heat treat.
Doing it, yeah, because that will actually make sense then. But as a manufacturer that sells knives, we're never
When they're
gonna
running 300, 400.
we're never gonna
knives
take
or
it up
1,000
to
knives,
to there because it's like we're going to get so much grief from people, and we have no idea how they take care of their knives.
Well, you get variable hardness anyhow because your heat treat ovens are so big that you can't hold the consistent
No.
temperature then.
And-
And so, no, you get variable hardness anyhow.
I mean, my friend Alan, who lives like 5 minutes from me, he treats each blade in his own foil packet. You know, so you kind of need to do something like that so you
Well,
can
yeah.
control each one, and then temper it and all the other stuff. That's when you get a specific Rockwell
Yeah.
hardness.
So if you want
Yeah.
a blade in Magna Cut in a certain thing, then yeah, go to a custom knife maker. I mean, I think that's probably one of the actual big perks about getting a custom knife made is that
Yeah.
you can actually request, hey, I want a zirconium backspacer and I want you to, I mean, I knew this guy up in Chicago and he would contact individual makers and I can name half a dozen of them that he went to and goes, no, I want the pocket clip to be like a snake and I want the backspacer to be a certain way. And the guy, I've never made one of my whatever knives with that. And
Yeah.
he'd want it bigger or smaller, and he'd want Moku tie on the bolster and this and that. And so the guy'd make it for him because the guy's going to pay, and the maker can make it, but had never done one like that. And so you get a one-off that nobody's ever had, and the maker had never even made before. But there you go. And so that's the joy of a custom knife.
That is, and that's where it should be because, like, that way you can go say, hey, I want this handle material, I want this blade finish on it, I want this kind of grind. I want the grind to be up this high. I want, and then it's really your knife.
Yeah. And that is the nice thing about a custom knife.
Yeah.
And then you got the mid-techs, which are really now starting to blend with high-end production. It's like, what's the difference between like a limited edition Wii knife that's smooth like my Ziphius and stuff like that, and some of these mid-techs?
A lot of the lines are blurring.
Yeah.
So mid-tech was a term that Ken Onion came up with, and this is like probably over 20 years by now, right? And he came up with that because he wanted to be able to utilize technology, CNC machines. And back then, it was still like he hand ground the blades, right? That was the term mid-tech. So he did some of the work, and the harder stuff, which required precision, that was done on machines. And that way, and he was honest about it. And that's the key. He was honest about it. He didn't call it full custom. He told everybody it was, there was technology involved. But now it's like such a gray area,
Yeah, because you're almost a fool not to use high-tech equipment because it makes it seamless. It makes it smooth. I mean, that one reviewer was going, yeah, it's a custom knife, so it has those character traits on it. Character meaning it's not perfectly centered, or it's not smooth as glass in the drop, or the detent's not really dialed in all that well, but it's handmade. And so it's like, maybe save me from the handmade if that, and so then the custom makers are then employing the high-tech machinery to make it really pretty seamless.
Yeah, and if they were doing the thing that kind of like what they're well known about. Like when you look at a hand ground Walter Brent blade, you can tell he ground that blade, right? And the deep hollow grinds, the really, gorgeous finish on it. That's what I would buy a Walter Brent for, you know? And now it's kind of like, I would rather buy the factory knives because the factory knives are awesome.
Yeah.
And my knives are all hand ground, and yeah, all the blades are hand ground on my knives.
Wow.
So that's how we could get the hollow grind on the tanto and then the flat on the tip.
Yeah.
Because someone actually hollow ground in and convex the tip.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't know that.
all the field duties, they're all hand ground.
Mm.
You know?
I don't want to be that guy.
Actually, it's a woman who grinds.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They have men and women grinding there. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's an equal opportunity business over there. All right.
I bet it is.
They don't just keep the women out of the shop.
Ooh. Yeah, man. I don't know if I could be standing doing that grinding.
Oh, they do it sitting down.
You're young, you're healthy.
They
Okay.
do it sitting down. They sit down and then they have the wheel like in front of them.
Okay.
And they're sitting down on a bench and they're like, That's a very Asian way because I heard like the Japanese also sit down when they do blade grinding. I've never visited a Japanese knife shop before, but maybe one day.
Yeah, I don't get to travel. I haven't been overseas.
Dude, get out there, man.
Ever.
Get out there. You'll love it.
Been to Mexico, been to Canada, never been overseas, never been to Alaska. Oh my God.
I don't want to go any place cold. Man, my blood is thin, dude.
Well, you've been living in Florida so long.
You're going to see me in like a triple down jacket, during the day. Jeez.
Yeah. So you've been living in Florida 13 years?
Like 10 years.
10
and then I lived in the Dominican Republic. But I grew up in New York City. But once I moved out of New York City, man, I can't take the cold like I used to.
Like
Like
your mom still lives up there.
My mom still lives, and I go up for the holidays. I'm going up for Thanksgiving. I'm going up for Christmas. But man, when I go out there, I'm like, oh man, this is cold. And it's not even the cold months. Like usually February and March is the cold months, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't want to be there during that time. Yeah.
No. I grew up in the north, and I remember people on snowmobiles in mid-October going up and down the street in front of my house. It's like, holy shit. And we hadn't even had our homecoming dance yet or something. It's like, oh man, this is not right. And then you don't see the ground until mid-March or late or whatever.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So it's changing though, because I kept my SUV running, so I've warmed up the entire planet a little bit.
That's okay.
Hope you guys appreciate that up there in the north.
It's only warm places for me from now on.
I know, but yeah. If you got a swimming pool, you don't have a swimming pool.
No, I don't. I have fruit trees in my yard.
I don't either. I don't even have fruit trees, and I don't have a swimming pool. And I told the wife, I said, if we're gonna come down here, because her brother moved from West Palm over to Little Lake Placid to on a lake, and there's about 6 or 7 lakes within 5-mile radius of me. Okay, there's shitloads of lakes. But I go, okay, if we're going to move to Florida, southern Florida, I want a swimming pool. Okay, I want a swimming pool. Do I have a swimming pool? No, I don't have a swimming pool. I got a lanai.
He got a hot tub in the line.
Yeah, I got a blow up hot tub. Now I am lobbying hard for a full size, normal hot tub in there. So I got screwed out of the swimming pool. At least I can unplug the hot tub during the summer and pretend like it's a micro swimming pool. And anything where I can hold a cold beer and be in the water when it's 96 degrees, 80% humidity, heat index 108 or whatever.
Most of us would just stay inside during that time.
See, Floridians, they do. They stay inside. And
we stay inside.
During, the summer. But,
we stay inside the house. We're not, unless, like, I'm going out for my walk, which I know I'm going to come back and be all sweat.
Yeah.
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 About it.
Do you do that walk in the morning?
I walk in the afternoon during like the massive sun, like when the sun is like hitting.
What?
Yeah, that's when I sweat the most.
Well, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah.
I mean, I look out the door as long as the sun's just starting to peak up. There's people in here, a lot of retired people down in Southern. But I mean, they'll be out walking, taking their poopy dogs with them or whatever. But they'll be out walking, walking. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's in the morning. It's not in the middle of the afternoon.
I do in the middle of the
It's
afternoon.
crazy.
Yeah.
No. I see them golfing across the street.
You gotta join them, man.
Not in the middle of the afternoon when it's
gotta do it,
96
yeah.
degrees.
Nice.
I ain't doing
Oh,
that.
sometimes it feels like it's about to rain, so you know it's super humid.
Oh.
It's like super humid, and I'm going out for
God.
my walk. I'm like, damn, it's hot today.
That's the one thing. You can't count on anything during the afternoons because, I mean, it will pop up thunder showers. And it's not like if you live in the Midwest, you got a thunderstorm that goes 100, 150 miles long and across the whole thing. No. These are, it's raining in your backyard and your neighbor, it's not raining. Across the street, it's not raining at all. Or maybe in your front yard, it's not raining. It's just, it is so weird.
Yeah.
And they does it every damn day during the summer.
And the torrential storms where you can't even see outside your windshield
Yeah.
when you're driving. It's
Yeah.
like,
I know. When we were coming back from Cocoa, Florida, not Cocoa Beach, but Cocoa, and then, of course, we were coming past the Palm Bay exit and all that. We were going in and out of torrential rains, but it would just be dry, and then bam, you'd go right into another spot. And you were going 75 miles an hour, all of a sudden you're going 55 and you can barely see out of your windshield. It's insane.
That's how you get your car wash here.
That you get the free car wash.
You get the free car wash. You wash all the bugs off your windshield and everything. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, what else about the industry?
What else about? I just see massive growth.
I think this is, it is a golden time for knives.
I see massive growth. I also see it's a crazy time and really, like, for a customer, you got to be like in front of the customer all the time to make sure like they remember who you are, you know,
because there's so much out there.
there's a lot, and everybody's putting on their A game, you know, so it's like, yeah, you got to be out there. You got to keep being out there even when you don't feel like being out there. You have to be out there.
Marketing over and over. And I see people on Instagram.
Yeah.
I mean, they design a knife or whatever, and they're posting that knife 3 times a day on Instagram. Boom, 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 boom.
They have to.
And continually because they want to keep their product in front of your face. See, I'm really lousy at that. Yeah. Otherwise, I'd be having the result on my Instagram like 20 times a day. But no, I post it, and then like 10 days later, maybe something else. 2 weeks later, you know, and there were people that I sent one to do a review here and there, and they go, "Oh, we didn't even know you had a knife. We didn't know anything about it." So
you're not a good pimper, my friend. You're not a good pimper. Yeah, I've been
lousy
slacking myself. I used to post at least 3 times a week, and now I post like once, maybe every 2 to 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. So I need to get back on that. I need to get back on that horse.
Well, and we need to do more videos where we just discuss different topics.
Yeah.
For what the hell?
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, maybe people would enjoy just this. But I mean, you know what? I've maybe done 2 live feeds in the last 5 years. I need to get back into maybe doing that too, because the good thing about the live feed is people come on and they talk to each other in the comment section, right? Yeah. So it becomes a town hall. And I've seen a lot of those live feeds, and people really like to click into them because they like to see who else is watching and making comments. And so it becomes like a town forum. You know,
I think that's important because, like, as we get into this, it's not like, you know, I'm standing on a hill and everybody else is like down here. It's like I'm standing down here with everybody else. And I think that is going to be, you know, the most important key factor. It's all relationship building. So if any of you want to send me a message about a particular model or something that you've been dying to ask me, feel free to reach out to me, you know. And I think that point to the town hall is that sometimes you feel like someone is unreachable, but all they want to do is for you to reach out to them and talk to them. Because at the end, this is all about community, you know, and creating community is where we feel like where we can know like people appreciate our work. We're actually doing this, and there is a reason for us to stick around doing it, you know, and that's all it is. You know, we want to build the community, and we want to see our customers actually using our work and taking care of it. And then if they have any questions, feel free to ask. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important to be reachable,
Yeah.
you know, for people, especially if you're doing this and you're selling
Yeah.
your own designs and your own knives.
Yeah.
Me, I'm just selling consignment knives. So they're on the website, and I get probably 4 or 5 inquiries from people through the website every day. Like, I got some knives I want to sell. What's the process? And then I respond to that, and or, you know, I see this one, do you have this other one too, or do you happen to own whatever? And yeah, I mean, I can answer different, or is there any voids in the carbon fiber on this thing I can't see, you know, I don't know. So I'm going to try and take even more detailed pictures going forward of my knives that I put on there, of the consignment knives. But also I'm there to answer, those questions as well. And I can email you back more detailed pictures if you want. Because some of these knives are $200-$300. I mean, it's an investment, and so you need to know that up front. Not like you can't return it, okay? But you might want to know up front anyhow, you know, to avoid the hassle of returning something.
Yeah.
So.
And we're gonna be at Blade West in a few weeks.
Yes, we will. Yes,
and,
we will.
I love going to shows, even though some of it is a little stressful to get ready for the shows. But the reason why I go to shows is to meet people.
Yeah, see,
You know?
And I like going to them to do videos to bring that experience to my viewers. But you know what? When you go to the shows, like SHOT Show, you can't sell anything. So you're there to show retailers or wholesalers, whatever, get together. So you can talk, you can have a video. At Blade, Atlanta, West, whatever, they're busy selling knives. They're selling knives. So they ain't going to stand around and do a 20-minute video with you. So I get that. I just grab what I can. I talk to people for a few minutes here or there. But it's fun to stay in touch with them, to meet them person to person. So, you know, you develop a relationship. And in this community, it is about relationships. And, you know, everybody's really nice. I mean, there's never any, like, problems. There's never any angst or nastiness.
If there is, you can talk to the person right there.
Yeah, and everybody's way cool because they're all about knives. And they're all knife addicts. And they have all been living in denial about their addiction, and we reinforce each other's addiction.
You mean we all spend way too much money on our addiction?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Hell yes, and I don't see most of these guys dragging their wives through there because their wives are going, you told me that Liong Mah knife was only $50. That's $500. So we're going to leave you with our knife of shame of the day, okay? This is one that I got in from a guy who wanted me to put it on my website, and I said, oh, hell no, because it's just too lovely. It's too lovely. So what the hell is this? I just grabbed it off the table. I have no idea. Okay, what is this? It's, oh, this is lovely. You guys, come on.
Oh,
okay,
wow.
Right? But it's twice as nice because...
Look at that.
Yeah, and this is, there you go.
Oh my God.
What does it say? M-Tech from the local gas station. There you go.
He has a whole bucket of these guys.
Gas station knife. And I've got 12 of them. I will sell for $120 for all 12. That's $10 a piece. You can practice your grinding skills and everything, and your handle modding techniques. And how do I even... Oh, these are liner locks. Okay. Look at this. Oh, now we're... Okay, so that's our knife of shame of the day. Run out and get you a, is that Venom?
It says Venom.
Venom. Whew. Great name. Horrible knife. Horrible, horrible knife. Okay. And is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it for today.
I'm
So
gonna kick him out now. He's got to go back to the East Coast.
I got to go back to Palm Bay. So
where he's got oceanfront, beautiful beach right in front of his house.
if you mean like the puddle in front of my in front of my garage.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay, that's oceanfront. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Hope
you
to see
guys,
some of you in a few weeks at Blade West in Utah, and we'll check you out on the next one of these.
stay sharp.
Take care.